My neighbor kept parking in my spot, so I had his car towed every day for a week. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who'd declare war on a neighbor, but life has a funny way of pushing you into battles you never wanted to fight. Let me set the scene. I live in a mid-sized apartment complex in a city where parking is hell. Each apartment comes with one designated parking spot. That's it. No visitor spots, no street parking. If someone takes your spot, you're basically screwed. Most tenants respect the system. After all, we all suffer under the same parking tyranny. Except for Greg. Greg lived 2 units down from me. He moved in about 8 months ago, and from the moment his U-Haul backed in, I had a bad feeling. Loud guy. Always on his Bluetooth. Always shirtless. Always yelling at someone. His girlfriend, his dog, delivery drivers, probably himself. You know the type. I ignored it. I don't get involved with neighbors unless I have to. Then, one night, I came home from a late shift to find my parking spot taken. Now, that never happened before. At first, I thought maybe it was a visitor who made a mistake. I circled the lot 3 times before I gave up and parked behind a dumpster half a block away. Annoying, yes, but forgivable. The next morning I left a polite note on the windshield. Hey, this is a reserved spot. Please don't park here again. Thanks. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. That night, same thing. My spot? Taken. By the same beat-up Dodge Charger. Black with peeling tint and a cracked bumper sticker that said, "Come and take it." Real classy. I was exhausted and more than a little annoyed, so I knocked on Greg's door. No answer, but his lights were on and I could hear the TV blasting. Fine. 2 could play this game. I called the towing company listed on the building's lease agreement and gave them all the info. They towed the car within 20 minutes. I went to bed thinking it was over. Oh, how naive I was. The next morning, I found my car keyed. Deep scratches along the driver's side. 3 words carved into the paint. Don't touch it. I was livid. I immediately marched over to Greg's unit. This time he answered, shirtless, holding a half-eaten Pop-Tart, and with zero shame. What? He said like I was bothering him. You keyed my car. He laughed. Actually laughed. You called a tow truck, princess. Actions have consequences. That's when I knew we had a problem. Greg didn't care about rules. He didn't care about common courtesy. He cared about control. But he messed with the wrong neighbor. I didn't respond. Not right away. I just looked at him, turned around, and walked away. He thought he won. He thought I was scared. I wasn't. I was just getting started. What Greg didn't know is that I work in IT. Specifically, I manage security systems for corporate buildings. Cameras, keypads, motion sensors. I'm not a hacker or anything, but I know how to set up surveillance. And I definitely know how to track patterns. That night, I set up a small Wi-Fi camera in my window facing the lot. I also called the apartment manager, filed an official complaint, and submitted footage of Greg's Charger in my spot, along with a time-stamped copy of my lease. But I didn't stop there. I found out Greg didn't have a parking pass at all, not for any space. He had been squatting in different spots for weeks, bouncing around like a parking lot parasite. Apparently, he claimed he lost his permit and just never replaced it. Management sent him a warning, told him to stop. He didn't. So I called the tow truck again, and again, and again. Every single night that week, I called the tow company the second I saw his car in my spot. By the 3rd night, I didn't even have to speak. They recognized my voice. The guy lost his car 5 times in 1 week. 5 towing fees. 5 impound lots, hundreds of dollars. And he couldn't prove anything. My cameras showed he was in the wrong. I never touched his car. I never threatened him. All I did was enforce the rules. By the end of the week, Greg came knocking. But this time, he wasn't laughing. He begged. I mean literally begged me to stop. Said he was sorry, that he didn't realize I took this so seriously, that it was just a mistake. I smiled and said, "You're right. Actions have consequences. But trust me, this story isn't over, because Greg, he doesn't like to lose. And what he did next took everything to a whole new level. After 5 days of towing hell, Greg had finally come crawling to my door. He actually apologized, something I didn't think he was even capable of. But here's the thing about people like Greg. They don't apologize because they mean it. They apologize because they got caught. So, I didn't trust a single word out of his mouth. After his dramatic doorstep performance, I thought, maybe he'd gotten the message. For a few blissful days, my parking spot remained untouched. I parked in peace, no scratches, no screaming, no petty notes. But then, of course, the calm shattered. One night I came home late after grabbing dinner with a friend, and guess what was in my spot? Yup, the Dodge Charger. I stared at it for a full 30 seconds, completely still. I even laughed. Not out of humor, out of disbelief. This dude was bold, but he was also sloppy. See, during those peaceful days, I didn't stop documenting. I kept recording. I kept emailing management every minor infraction. I knew Greg was the kind of guy who'd backslide, and I wanted receipts. This time, though, I wasn't calling a tow truck. I was going nuclear. So remember how I said I work in IT security? Well, the apartment complex had a tenant portal where residents could log service requests, pay rent, and, conveniently, upload complaints with evidence. I compiled everything: footage, photos, a PDF file of timestamps showing each time he parked illegally, including the days he was towed. I included screenshots from our lease that clearly showed each unit's assigned spot. I submitted it not just to management, but to corporate. And I wasn't the only one. Turns out Greg had been terrorizing more than just me. Another neighbor caught him letting his dog crap in the hallway. Someone else said he stole a package off their doorstep. Another claimed he played loud music until 3 a.m. multiple nights a week. I had no idea just how hated he was until I posted a message on the building's online bulletin board titled, "Let's Talk About Greg." It exploded. One neighbor called him the garage goblin. Another described him as the HOA's final boss. People were fed up, and now they had someone organizing all the chaos. Me. A week later, Greg got a notice of eviction. Apparently, his lease had been on a probationary basis, which management never told us. And with the flood of complaints, corporate fast-tracked the process. They gave him 30 days to vacate. You'd think that'd be the end. But oh no, Greg had one more tantrum left. On moving day, I watched from my window as he tried to pull his Charger up onto the sidewalk to load easier. It hit the edge of the curb and snapped something underneath. The front bumper literally dropped off. He screamed, kicked the door, tried to duct tape the whole thing back together, and when that didn't work, he just peeled out of the lot in a cloud of smoke, bumper dragging, cursing everyone on his way out. That was the last we ever saw of him. A new tenant moved in 2 weeks later. A quiet woman who bakes muffins for the building and says good morning with actual eye contact. The lot is peaceful again. My car is unscratched. And best of all, my spot has stayed sacred ever since. So yeah, if you ever think you can't fight back against an entitled neighbor, think again. Because sometimes the petty path is the righteous one. And all it takes is a tow truck, a camera, and a spreadsheet to bring down a parking lot tyrant.